Well, palms up, palms up. It's your girl, it's your girl. We're back. It's another week. Do us a favor and share the link. Why don't you? I tell you, trying to convert from being on the street doing this work on the ground overseas. Sometimes this palms up. It just come up so quick. How's it going? How's it going? Palms up, guys. Welcome back for another Tuesday, another Palms Up show. We are so blessed to be on this air for 3 years. You guys have held us down for 3 years. Palms up to all of you guys out there. And you know the routine. We're asking our loyal viewers and followers to please share this link so that someone else can join in on the fun. Oh, hey, Overseer, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine. How are you?
You know what it is. You know what it is. Palms up. And before we go any further, they tell me, Overseer, that we had another shooting over at Wingate Apartments in Southeast DC. I tell you, sis, what we're going to do with this violence in our city.
I just I don't know. I'm just speechless. Just
I tell you, I tell you, it is just one of those things. This week we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. We have a wonderful guest that's going to join us, Mr. Sharif Boyd, who is a graduate of VOACC's programming, and I believe that he's going to be able to share with us firsthand some of what he experienced. So, guys, tune in for the next hour. It's just an hour out of your life to learn about how we can all do something and come together, palms up. Mr. Boyd is having a little communication problem. So if you'll be patient, he'll be dialing in because he did not want to miss the show, palms up. And while we're waiting
oh
for
yeah.
Mr. Boyd to dial in, we're going to invite Overseer to give us a welcome word as we always do. We want to hear from our sister. You know we got to get that good word, palms up. Before we do, we want to invite you guys to tune in with us or join the conversation. Be brave, why don't you? You can get the link at www.healthydcandme.org. That's right, www.healthydcandme.org. You can get the link, come on to the show, or you just want to sit and spectate. That's fine too, palms up. But we all got to do something to be a part of stopping this violence in our nation's capital and around the DMV area. Palms up. Looks like our guest has made it to the platform. I'm going to
All
invite you
right.
guys again to share the link, please, for us. And please, if you're feeling generous out there and you want to support somehow and just don't know what to do, we're going to Congress. That's right. I got my dialysis shirt on.
Hey,
These streets working. That's right, Palmer. So
hey.
you have your shirt. If you can't make it on February the 29th when we rally down to the U.S. Capitol and take our meetings with our congressional leaders that are scheduled to meet with us about stopping this big dialysis. Shout out to all our families out there who are struggling and going through and suffering in silence. Guys, we do this work to let you know you're not by yourself. You're simply not alone. And we all must show up. We all must do something. So if you can't physically be at the dialysis rally on February the 29th, the last day of Black History Month, then you can definitely support the cause by getting your t-shirt and representing and supporting the families of dialysis as well as our movement. And you can get your t-shirt at www.mitv.fyi. We invite you guys to add your family's legacy to this dialysis rally. That's what it's all about. We never want to forget our loved ones. And I would imagine that the next best thing that we can do if we've already lost our loved ones to dialysis or who are struggling with diabetes or chronic kidney failure, that you can lend your voice and make sure that their legacy is not forgotten. And we welcome you guys. You can register, you can get a t-shirt, you can share the link, you can let some other folks know at www.mitv.fyi. Our Cash App is palms up, the number 4MI. So you can all do something. Hey sis, welcome, welcome. And what is that word this week looking like?
The word is empathy. I think
Mm-hmm.
we need to have more empathy for people. Stop being so cold hearted. We might not go through the same thing that a person might go through, but with empathy, you still feel their pain. You're still there to support them and help lift them up, not tear them down. So, empathy. Let's
I
practice a
love
little
that.
more empathy this
I
week.
love that. And you're right, sis. Thank you. Palms up. we can definitely use more empathy. Tonight, we're going to talk to a beautiful soul, Mr. Sharif Boyd, as you heard me mention. Mr. Boyd is a graduate, an alumnus, if you will, from the Volunteers of America, Chesapeake and Carolinas programming, and we're excited to hear about his experience. By now, you guys, if you've been tuning in every week, you have heard from the president and CEO of Volunteers of America, Chesapeake and Carolinas, Mr. Russ Snyder, who's been in place for over, I believe he said 14 or 16 years. Forgive me, these numbers in my head, but it's been a long time. How about that? Palms up. And under his tutelage, he was very eloquent in helping us to understand Volunteers of America and Chesapeake Carolinas' passionate work in and around the community. And Volunteers of America, Chesapeake and Carolinas has been around for the better part of 128 years they celebrate this year. And so we're excited because on March the 9th at the Metropolitan Community Church of Washington, D.C., at 1 p.m. from 1 to 6, they are going to sponsor and host their spiritual colloquium on gun violence. And guys, let me just stop for a minute and put a personal plea out there. Guys, we've got to show up. Many of us are sitting behind these keyboards and we're tuning in, and I know you know what's going on. You send me such wonderful messages, but guys, we got to show up in person. We are burying too many of our family members, our community members, and Mr. Sharif Boyd is going to help us generationally understand how this is impacting his generation and what he's been able to do to overcome and become a success story. And we want more success stories, but if we are going to bring in change, we can't just talk about it. We got to be about it. Palms up. All right, guys. March the 9th. Mark your calendar and do better than that. We want you to go to the website, www.voachesapeake.org/colloquium and register. Register everybody you know. It's a Saturday. There's prayer vigil. There's so much. And I'm sure after you hear Mr. Boyd's story today, you're going to be further encouraged. If we want our younger populations to do better, then we've got to do better. Everybody has to be accountable. Palms up. You know what we say, mental health matters. And too many community members are stressed and going through this gun violence and just violence as a whole. I'm going to give you those statistics in just a minute, but I want to pause for a minute, invite you to sign up for the spiritual colloquium on March the 9th. There's still plenty of time. There's time for you to get your organization involved. There is no reason not to. Miss Jules Chaplin, and I'll say that again, Chaplain Jules Christian. Boy, I didn't change her name. You got me so worked up. Chaplain Jules Christian, palms up to you out there, Chaplain. She is waiting on your calls to help you guys understand how you can get your personal testimonies in, how you can get your organizations involved, and how you yourself can get involved. Her number is 336-419-7579. Palms up, and we look forward to meeting you at the colloquium. Get your family's legacy on record. Don't let those deaths be in vain. Speak every opportunity that you're given a platform to do so. Palms up, palms up. Mr. Boyd, welcome to the Palms Up Show. How are you, sir? Can you hear me?
I'm doing good. How are you this evening?
Doing just great. Will you do us a favor and maybe speak up a little louder? You're coming in through the telephone on the live feed, and we want to make sure they hear your wonderful story. Is that good?
Yes, that's fine. Can you hear me now?
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Well, hello, Mr. Sharif Boyd, and they tell me that you made it through, that you are defying all odds, and we are so patiently awaiting your story this evening. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good. I'm excited to get to again share my story for not just me, but for my generation as well.
Absolutely. And thank you very much for showing up for your generation. Because you know us old fogies, we think we know it all, and we are looking to learn from you this evening. Welcome, Soldier, to the Palms Up platform. So they tell me that you were a member of VOACC's programming, and we've had all the adults come through the program platform and tell us about their wonderful programs. But you're going to give us our first opportunity as a recipient of being a member of one of their programs. Will you talk to us a little bit about your story and anything you're comfortable with sharing and how it is that you came to be a member of the VOACC family?
Okay. Um, let's see where to start because All right, so Mr. Dan, my director from VOACC at Youth Build, he told me don't get up here and talk too much, so I got to keep this nice and short, but I got to still get my message across. Um, so I'm originally from Philadelphia, and what got me to actually go to Youth Build was moving down south with my sister Ebony,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like for her, she moved me down south to get a change of scenery and felt as though I could do better and maximize on my potential and my capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And being from this like the inner city and moving around to a different place to where as though everything about it is just like culturally different. It was hard at first adjusting and getting used to the norms of being down south in Newport News, Virginia. But once I was able to get over that hurdle, I was able to go back to school and meet great people like Mr. Dan and do other amazing things with kids in my age group, such as speaking up for them and going on the news with the mayor to show gratitude and basically just to highlight the hard work that the youth put in. And in the beginning, it was kind of difficult to sit there and manage all that and still try to manage, just my normal day to day life because I was starting to realize that my calling was starting to draw me towards different things and different avenues. And it was hard, but I started to look at the feedback that my friends was giving me, and it encouraged me to actually keep going and doing what I'm doing because there aren't too many people in my generation who can actually speak up for us and feel comfortable to be vulnerable enough to share their story and to be willing to face the scrutiny. So, yeah, that's kind of what got me to Newport News and to Youth Build. And for my generation, it kind of took a big swing. I say for us here in the inner city in Philadelphia, we were exposed to gun violence in 2016. I could say that's probably around the year where I started losing some friends to gun violence. And it hit different. It does. And when I say it hit different, like it has a different toll on our generation because we aren't really allowed to sit there and be vulnerable and express our emotions and how things carry on with us and how they affect us in our day to day life. But I can look into the eyes of my friends and even my family members who have been victims or just know people who have lost someone or has been around in areas where gun violence was taking place. It doesn't leave a good taste in people's mouths. I can say that much. And over the last few years, it was kind of hard being in Virginia, knowing that back home here in Philadelphia, I was losing friends left and right. And that's what sort of really like made me realize like I can use my voice in a different way because I'm feeling all these different mixed emotions because I'm losing people. I grew up with people who I was expecting to be around my whole life. And now I have to live my day to day life without them. And it's been a real struggle, especially now that I'm back home in Philadelphia. I've been back home in Philadelphia for 2 years now. And every day is hard knowing that I'm in the same neighborhood where we grew up at and I go to the same places where we used to be and my friends aren't there. But I just try to use that negative emotions that I get and just try to find the better of it. I try to like not look at so much of the downside of oh my friends aren't here no more. I look at it as yes they aren't here no more, but they still live through me. I still have memories. There's not a day that goes by that I'm not constantly thinking of the things we did as children and as young teens. And I use that as a fuel, and it sets my fire. It makes me go harder because I don't want to lose anybody else to gun violence, especially now that I myself have been a victim of gun violence and a messy situation that happened in 2023 to where as though I actually was shot and I had to like sit down and actually think and look about all the things that was going on around me. And I had to realize like, yeah, like getting shot was the moment I realized like I have to start living in the now and start capitalizing on every opportunity I have because I might not get so lucky if this was to ever happen again because, not too many people can say they got shot and survived. So I'm just blessed to be here.
Palms up. Yes, you are. And let me just thank you. Palms up to you, soldier. I just really applaud your bravery, your courage, and the fact that you're willing to be so open because I know that not only will you help folks of your generation by speaking out, but you'll also help to influence the understanding and education that many in my generation and above, we could use and benefit from. You talked about quite a bit. First and foremost, you mentioned that you were shot recently, at least as recent as last year. Are you okay? Is everything okay?
Um, for the most part, yeah, I'm fine. I'm feeling okay. I kind of put off doctor's appointments to continue to pursue my career, my dreams as of right now. I actually chose like I'm not going to say I chose. I actually used like getting shot as a moment to get back into one of my favorite pastimes, which is making music. So, like, yes,
Awesome.
getting shot was a downside, but it also helped me channel what I actually like doing the most. Like where I feel most comfortable at, and that's making music.
I love that. And I heard you say that you were from Philadelphia. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And so you went from Philadelphia down to Newport News.
Yes, ma'am. My
That's
sister
a real
told me.
scenery change. My goodness. I guess the first thing I want to ask you about having to relocate from Philadelphia to Newport News, that's a whole different energy. You had to be able to develop a level of trust, I would imagine. You mentioned Mr. Carrera, and palms up to Mr. Carrera. He was on the platform talking to us about the wonderful work they're doing down in Newport News with that youth build program. And I hear you talk about you were able to be with the mayors. I want to know what that experience was like. But first and foremost, talk to us about your ability to be able to trust, relocating from one area to another. How did that work out? And what was it about Mr. Carrera and the youth build program that allowed you to allow your walls to come down and to really, immerse yourself into what they were offering?
Um, it was actually like pretty hard at first. Like honestly, I could say I went to Newport News in 2019. It took me until 2021, 2022 to actually get comfortable enough to say, all right, I need help. And I need help in more than one way. I need help. I got so many things I want to do in my head, and I need somewhere I can go to where as though I'm going to have somebody be just as hard on me as I am on myself.
Mm,
And a family friend, her name is Miss Brett, and I'm forever grateful for this lady because she told me, she was like, Sharif, have you ever considered youth build? And us having a youth build back in Philadelphia, I was like, I heard of the program before. We got one back home. And she was like, well, look up this one down here and then tell me what you think of it. So I looked it up, and seeing what they did kind of moved me a little bit because it was just like, okay, this isn't like the youth build back home. This youth build here is way more hands on with construction, and like they actually get out into the community and help people out. I can get around that because I've always been compassionate and I've always been a giving and caring person. So it was hard at first, but I met Miss McKenna Walden. That was the program specialist at the time under Mr. Dan. And from the moment I met her, it was just like we just clicked in sort of a way to where as though it's like she understood that I knew I could be better, and I myself saw someone who was going to be in my corner to make me go harder than what I was already doing.
mm-hmm.
And once I was able to actually get through the little beginning phases of the program to actually get into the program and see what was going on, I realized they do so much more that I just ask questions. How can I be a part of this? How can I be a part of that? And me asking questions and speaking up was one of the reasons why I was able to be a part of Mayor Price at the time. He was shining the light on community work around Newport News. And I guess around this time, our community work with Youth Build had been highlighted through City Hall. So they needed someone to go and speak to the masses and make everybody look good. And I felt comfortable enough with being the face to where though I can say yes, even though we are young, we still have a story to tell. And no, we're not really that much different from any other generation. It's just the generational gap is understanding. And that's kind of what I've been working on the last couple of years, along with doing everything else that I'm doing. It's just to build a bridge of understanding between my generation and all the other generations before mine.
That is wonderful. I tell you, I'm looking at all the messages come in. I can't even keep up with them, but just know they are very proud of you, as am I. And I've just met you. You know, you talk so intelligent. You speak about knowing that you needed help. You trusted a family friend who asked you to take a look at the program. And I want to make a point in what you said. The fact that you had been familiar with the program to some extent, you had heard it in your hometown, and it allowed you to look even further when a friend, a family friend recommended, which is a shout out and a palms up to the wonderful stability and presence of Volunteers of America, Chesapeake and Carolinas in the community, because the fact that they had been out there, you had already realized that this is probably a solid program, and it was intriguing enough for you to take a further look. But to be your age and of your generation, and to have the presence of awareness to know that, hey, I need some help. I got to talk to somebody. That's pretty cool. And then doing that landed you on the stage with the mayor. And then you talk so cool. You say, oh, they needed somebody to talk to the masses. And you already knew you could go out and stand in front of those people and talk.
I mean, I kind of knew, but it took a little bit more edging on because even though I am well spoken and I know I can articulate my words to where I can get everybody to understand where I'm coming from, that was sort of a big moment, like not just for me, but I believe for my generation at that time, because it was just like the friends that I made in VA was also friends who, once we got comfortable enough to tell each other a little bit of our stories, I was starting to realize, like, hey, they go through the same or similar struggles that I went or was going through back home. So it's just like, if I can help anybody, let me help those who sort of help me become comfortable with being able to be my normal self, which is outspoken and having fun. And once I felt as though I could do that for them, since they did that for me, it was just like, I have to take this opportunity. I have to just go for it. And that was sort of the biggest thing I was pushing for with my generation, to just go for it, but understand what you're going for instead of just jumping into things head first.
I love that, and I love you, you young soldier. You, I really appreciate that you are so confident and able to help youth out there. And as I said, our populations hear the passion in your voice. This gun violence is ravishing our communities, and I don't have to tell you. And I want to read a few messages to you just so you'll know how you're already impacting our audience, and we're just getting started. Chaplain Jules wants you to know, Cherie, we are so glad you survived and you are helping others. Mr. Carrera says, God bless family and prayers being sent up for all of our souls. Frederick Ware Newsom is sending a shout out to us as Newsom Queens because of the wonderful work we're doing to showcase and highlight the stories of the community. And many of our viewers are very impressed with your commentary thus far. I want to take a moment and I want to appeal to you and ask you if you could give us a snippet of what you might have talked to the masses about, because I know that there's some folk out here that would love to hear from you and understand your message of why you think your generation and our generation needs to pay attention and get involved with this gun violence, especially taking a page out of your book where you have been shot and still you stand up and rise and speak out. So can you help us to empower our audience members out there with some message that you feel would be resonating?
Um, I think for me, it was just because I'm so self-aware, I realized where my lacking was and why certain things started to happen or whatever happened. And for me, it's just being grateful. So my message to any and everybody out there is to just be grateful for any and everything that you come across, because you never know what might actually be something to change your life and help you benefit 5, 2 years down the line.
That's so true. That's so true. You talked about your dreams. You talked about liking to make music. Are there other things that you intend to tackle or that's a part of that dream you speak of? I'm just imagining if there's someone else out here who can relate. What kinds of dreams do you have beyond your gun violence and your activism?
Actually I want to start a program, and Mr. Dan probably remembers this, but this program was to help out the inner city in two ways. One, help low income families,
Mm-hmm.
and two, help homeless people get off the street.
Oh,
And I realized in most rural neighborhoods, a lot of the crime happens in low income areas. And it's kind of weird, but us in low income areas, we sort of understand why the crime happens because there's a lack of things. And I feel as though if there was more of what there was less of, there wouldn't be any problems. So I want to be the one to have that program to help give more of instead of have that program that takes more of and give less. I want to give more and take less. I feel as though people have already had enough taken from them through gun violence and whatever else may just occur throughout someone's natural life that they just need someone to be there that's not going to judge them and actually sit there and want to put the time in to help them as much as they want to help themselves.
That's awesome. And I love that you said the judgment piece. Oftentimes we get lost in trying to help folks because we're too busy in judgment. But like you said, people that are going through just want the opportunity to not be judged and to have real help, real resources. And you talk about the crime happening in our lower income communities typically. And you're right, it's important that we have these important conversations because folks who don't have access to the proper types of resources and understandings of a non-judgment nature tend to act out. They tend to feel victimized or feel as though they can't do any more than what they're doing. And that's why I'm so excited to have you speak to us because, our generation is always ready to write off your generation. But here you are standing strong and proud. And Mr. Carrera says that you are a powerful young man and definitely you need a platform. It says that you've also received an internship with a major company in Philadelphia. Are you holding out on us? Palms up. What kind of
um,
internship you got going, young soldier?
so a little insight about the internship. So besides doing everything else, grateful for Youth Bill, I was able to get my certifications in the basic hard trades of construction, carpentry, and I was able to land a internship with a company called WRT, which focus around low income projects in urban neighborhoods such as certain areas of Philadelphia. And it stood out to me because the program that I just mentioned, there was a company that was borderline doing what I wanted to do. And
Mm-hmm.
I got to meet the CEO of the company. He flew out to Virginia. His name is Mr. Joseph Haley.
Mm-hmm.
And when I met him, sometimes when you hear of a CEO, you think of somebody that's sort of, in a sense, big headed, not too down to earth,
Mm-hmm.
somewhat arrogant. And he was just the total opposite of what I had in mind for a CEO. He was very much down to earth. And then for me, it was like sort of like the personal connection we made because I'm from Southwest Philadelphia and he's from a county that's outside, like that's literally 15 minutes outside of Southwest Philadelphia. And to hear that he actually went to a couple of the local schools in my neighborhood was just like, okay, so I can see myself putting my faith in this man because this man has walked the same streets I've walked and probably seen sort of the same similar things that's going on now in my generation. And the fact that he was able to look at all that and say, okay, I'm going to, instead of run from the problem, I'm going to run towards the problem and try to make the problem better. I can get behind that because that's all I want to do. I want to make the problem better. And
You know,
it's
we are so
been,
excited. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
it's, it's, it's been a hard little process because it's just trying to, again, now with this is just trying to build a gap between entry level architects and major architects. It's just trying to find a common ground and common understanding to where as though we can have that natural work relationship balance in the office. That's been kind of hard, but it's actually been one of the funnest things I've been doing as of late.
I think this is awesome and palms up to you, Soldier. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 23. I'll be 24 in November.
My goodness, such a young man for 23 years of age. And I'm so happy that you survived, as has been said already, so that you can achieve all that you're speaking of. You are such an inspiration. And I imagine looking back from your sister deciding that it's time for you to relocate and giving you a chance. What is that? What do you think about when you look how far you've come and just, having this journey unfold, and you're meeting CEOs of companies and overcoming your fear and finding common ground with other generations and other professionals, and recognizing that you can hold your own like that? How does it feel to look back and to look at where you are now?
Um, Honestly, I still say none of this has settled yet. It still hasn't even honestly, over the last few years, I've still been trying to wrap my head around it. Even when I tell my friends, yeah, I was on the news, I was on this other little TV stand, this little TV set thing, I didn't did this, I didn't did that. It still feel weird because it's just there's not too many people from where we from that get this opportunity. So it's I try sometimes not to bask in it because I don't want to feel like I'm gloating. But then when I talk to my friends about it, and my friends tell me hey, that's something you should be able to sit there and talk your talk about it. You shouldn't sit there and hide it because you did something different, not just for you, but for the neighborhood. You got exposure, not just for yourself, but for us. You got to tell a story that's not just yours, but is ours. So honestly, if I would, me personally, if I could do it all over again, I
Mm-hmm.
would. I would do everything the same exact way. Because if I changed something, I wouldn't be sitting here today doing this interview.
Mm, that is amazing. Palms up to you. Our palms up show, when we say palms up, we're just so excited. We give God the glory and the praise. And we love the fact that you are so aware. I know my big mamas on the line want to speak up and unmute. They so proud of you, Sharif, as I am. You represent your generation well. Palms up, and shout out to that wonderful youth build program down there and Newport News. You're going to be speaking to us at the March 9th Gun Violence Spiritual Colloquium. And what I hear, you're ready. So, will you tell us a little bit about how excited you must be to greet us at the Gun Violence Colloquium on March 9th?
As excited as I am, I'm even more nervous. I wouldn't even lie. I'm way more nervous than I am excited. I actually called Mr. Dan earlier, and I was like, Mr. Dan, what do I do? This is the chance. This might be the biggest platform I'm speaking on to share my story. There's just there's so much I want to say, but then there's also so much I don't feel comfortable saying. So what do I do? And he told me, he said, big boy, you were, he in a sense, he said, you made for this. He was
Mm-hmm.
you know what you know what your story is, and if you could tell your story once to a small group of people, you could tell it twice to a bigger group of people. You got to remember, the people aren't solely there for you. They are there for the story that you have because they were moved by something that you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And once he said that, it kind of took a load off because it's just you're right. I gotta sit here and just tell my story, just be myself. I started overthinking it a little too much. But yes, I'm very excited to be going to DC and to actually sit here and be amongst this nice group of people. And I'm excited to see what else is there in store. I've actually limited how much research I've did just to keep my anticipation at a very high limit.
That's awesome. You talking about doing research and recognizing that your story must be told. And the fact that I'm looking here, you've been interviewed quite a few times. I was going to give you the opportunity. You talk about maybe some things that you're a little uncomfortable with. Is there anything that I can invite you to help us help you understand how cool you're going to be when it's time to talk about it? Is there anything that you feel that makes you a little bit uncomfortable that you feel that you could share with us? I know you said Mr. Cabrera said don't be talking too much, but we've been waiting for you. We've been waiting to hear from you. So is there anything I can invite you to share that you feel might make you uncomfortable that will help you get over that fear?
For the most part, it's just like in the back of my head, I've just been thinking, how many people are going to be there? Because I'm not that much of a shy person, but I am more of an introvert than I am extrovert. So it's just like sometimes like my anxiety will get a little rocky. But for the most part, even right now, once I get started and I feel comfortable with who I'm speaking to and already know what I'm going to say, I should be okay. But yeah, for the most part, I've just been in the back of my head wondering how many people are going to be there.
Well, let's let you in on a little secret. It's gonna be at least a few hundred people there. So let's get that out the way now so that don't mess up what you got to say. Because I want you to know you're doing wonderful. And I know that we have quite a few people that view our show as well. And we're going to send it out to the masses. So I would say by the time March 9th comes, you're going to be the rock star that you already are. Do you understand that, young man?
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Sharif, I want to give you a break for a minute and invite some of my beautiful voices. Look like we got Miss Barbara Cooper, palms up, from the Marbury Plaza. One of the, you talk about these low income and low and urban community settings where we have crime, and so you got some crime experts on the Palm tonight because on the Palms Up Show tonight because we're seeing it every day, and that's why we're so proud. My cheeks hurt already from smiling so hard. I'm just so impressed with you, young man. We see so many young people day in and day out, and we just, we want to save them all. And we realize that we can't do all the work. We have to be patient and humble and let you all guide us and teach us and school us, if you will. And that's exactly what you're doing tonight. You're schooling us and a lot of folks that are listening in. So palms up to you. I can promise you that your message coming across loud and clear, and we love it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Overseer Coles is my right hand on the show here, Sharif. I'm going to invite her to unmute. I call her Waterworks, Sharif. So I hope she can get through this message without dripping tears. We get so proud because the work is so hard. And I want to invite Miss Cooper also to unmute because it's important that you stay encouraged and empowered and know that when you speak volumes and you're touching hearts. So you take a breath for a minute and let me get some folks to shower some love on you for a minute. Overseer Coles?
Hey, I am so proud of you. How you speak and you're not ashamed to talk about it. And our young folks need to see that. You're a breath of fresh air. Mm-hmm. And I love music too. So when you said you use music, that is such a great tool because it worked for both sides. Those hurting, those not hurting, bringing them together on a common ground. I look forward to meeting you in person, you interacting with our young people down here because they really need that encouraging word. A lot of them don't have any hope. And if you don't have hope, you don't have anything to look forward to. So just keep up, be genuine, be who you are, speak what's on your heart. Don't look at the faces, just be genuine. And I really believe with you being genuine, you'll reach so many of them down here. So you just keep on doing you. Oh, you can slip in one of y'all, what y'all call them, cheese steaks up there, slide one down. I have never had one, so you know. Excuse me, I had my purple pill tonight, so.
Thanks, Overseer. Hey, Miss Cooper, unmute and talk to this beautiful young soldier that we just love. We love our soldiers. Hey, Queen, welcome to the platform.
Hey, wow, I was really overwhelmed to be honest, to really be honest, to hear this young man that's only 23 that has been shot. I have two brothers that was murdered on the streets of DC. So that touches hard with me. But I want to share something with you, sweetie. If ain't nobody never told you anything, listen, God don't put no more on you than you can bear. You might be the one that can wake up other brothers and sisters. You know, we are more alike than different. You know, we all go through the same thing, but on different forms. You know what I mean? I have a son, and I worry about him all the time. And see, it comes with the lifestyle that you live too. See, you can't have one foot in and one foot out. You got to be either in or you got to be either out. You know, my son went to Elizabeth City University for computer science, and he got jumped, and I knew it was more than what he was telling me, because boys are, one thing I noticed about young men, they don't like to open up. They don't like to let people know what's going on with them. It's more help out there than you realize. And when you said that you realized that you needed help, boy, I swear on everything, if I could have reached through the phone, I would have gave you the biggest hug that I could have ever gave you. Because it's always God grant me the serenity, you know, to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And see, God put a different shine on you. Baby, you better shine, and I hope I be there, because I'm going to be hollering and screaming. I'm the big mouth one. So I'm very proud of you, sweetheart, and keep on doing what you're doing.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes, yes. Hey guys, it's your guys. It's your guys. It's your girls. It's your girls. I tell you, I'm all tongue tied up here. If you guys don't know, on March the 9th, Volunteers of America, Chesapeake and Carolinas is hosting a spiritual colloquium on gun violence, because it's time for us to come together across all faiths, across all communities, all income statuses. You know, it is time for us to come together, because this gun violence is tearing through our communities. And you're hearing some brave souls tonight that are testifying. Do you have a testimony out there? As you don't have to do this alone. And we want to be able uplift all legacies of gun violence. We want you all to understand that our young people deserve our hearts and our open minds, so that we can help rally around our community members, so that we can do better. When we know better, they say we can do better. So on March the 9th, we're asking you all, you're going to be able to hear this rock star speak. That's worth a visit all in of itself. You can register right now at www.voachesapeake.org/colloquium, or you can call Chaplain Jules Christian at 336-419-7579. Just like Sharif, you can tell your story. You can be brave out there. Hey, my parents. Hey, my aunties and my uncles and my guardians and my big mamas and my soldiers out there. We need you to know that holding your story isn't going to help save the next one. Palms up. Mr. Sharif Boyd recognized that he has a voice. He can represent his generation and tell the story to help save another life. And so can you guys. We can all do something. I want you to know that on March the 9th, the gun violence colloquium is going to be from 1 to 6 p.m. But we're going to have a good time talking about saving lives. Volunteers of America, Chesapeake and Carolinas, they've got a wonderful day planned for us. We're going to do a prayer vigil. We're going to be able to hear from some wonderful speakers like Mr. Boyd. It's free. I mean, come on, it's free. On top of that, you're going to eat. They've got all kinds of wonderful messages, and they just want to be able to foster unity. Unity, you know, unity is a word inside of community. But when is the last time you found that your community had unity in it, guys? It is time to come back to the table. We need you to register. Don't just show up. Register to make sure that your seat is reserved. And then don't stop there. Bring your family members. Go and knock on the doors of your neighbors. If you're sick of this gun violence, as we are, then guys, we have opportunity to do something, because the power of us all coming together, as we can move mountains, palms up. And if this baby, and I mean, he's a young soldier at 23, but to many of us, he's a baby. And this baby has made his mind up that he wants to be able to help by speaking out. And he himself has been shot and survived. Guys, we owe it to our children to show up. We owe it to our young adults to show up, guys. March the 9th. I'm going to give you that website again, because maybe you just got your ink pen. www.voachesapeake.org/colloquium. You put that into Google, it's going to come right up. You can call Chaplain Jules. She's very, very open-hearted and open-minded. She'll hear what you have to say, but more importantly, she'll help you to get registered. She'll help you to understand how you can add your family's testimony or your testimony to this event. And you heard Sharif, he was a little worried, you know, this CEO from this company is going to fly out to see him. And what did he find out? That there was common ground, even though they were generationally different. He found out that he brought something to the table that someone else would perceive as being needed. And he's got himself an internship. He's done his work. He went through the program. He recognized that he needed help. And he was able to do that in a whole new environment. So sometimes it's not a bad thing to remove yourself from your environment in order that you can get ahead. So now I want to hear from Mr. Boyd about this music that he's into. Sharif, will you talk to us a little bit about the kinds of music you're into, and what is it that we're going to look forward to hearing from you? Do you sing? Do you produce and make the beats? Talk to us a little bit about your musical talent.
You actually just hit it right on the nose. I be trying to hide that from the people. I be trying to hide that. But yes, I am a singer-songwriter that's learning how to record and make beats as of right now.
Awesome. Awesome. And is there a particular type of music that you're into, or is it just across the board?
I do hip-hop and rap, but as of lately, I've been going back to like more of the singing side of myself, so I've actually been tapping more into R&B lately. So,
oh, wow. That's awesome.
But overall, with like the general concept of me making my music, it's just me literally putting my pain in my songs, since not too many people ever acknowledged it. So I'm just literally telling the untold story for the little kid I used to be now that I'm grown.
That's awesome. Do you have a social media address or something we can share with the audience so that people can continue to follow your story?
Yes, my Facebook name is Reef Boogie. That is RIFBOOGIE, and I have a Instagram where I'm transforming it into my music page, and it goes by my stage name, and that's BIG6G0D.
Okay, again, I want to make sure I got
6G0D.
Oh God, I love that. And so you BIG, the number 6 GOD is how they follow you on Instagram?
It's the number 0 after the letter G, but yes.
Okay, so you're spelling God with the 0 is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay,
and
awesome. Go ahead.
And my name is like, it's sort of just like a memento for like where I'm from. I'm from 60th Street in Philadelphia, and I've just always been like bigger than everybody else. So my friends always call me Big Reef and everything. So for me, it was just like I was feeling this thing. Like it's like this vibe that I have. I was feeling it, and it's just like I feel like I have this godly presence. Like I just know I can like bless people in more than one way. So that's kind of how I put my name together.
I love that. And I just want to make sure for folks that slow like me that got their ink pen out. Your Facebook is RIF as in Frank Boogie, BOOGIE.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And then that Instagram again is Big Six God. And in the God spelling, use the zero as the number, right?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Sharif Boyd from 60th Street in Philadelphia. I'm going to invite you to give us a closeout message, and I'm also going to invite you to do a snippet, just a little commercial, if you would, to invite folks to the gun violence colloquium on March 9th as only you can. So if you sit tight for me, I promise some figures. I'm not sure what the figures are in Philadelphia, Sharif, but here in DC, we've been tracking them just to kind of see where we are 51 days into the new year here. Homicides, 22 year to date. We have 22 homicides, and that's up 6 from last week. So we've had 6 more homicides in 7 days. Sexual abuse, we're up 3. We're at 29. So in a week's time, we've had 3 more sexual abuse cases reported. Assault with a dangerous weapon. We were at we're at 125. We were at 111 last week. So we're up 14 assault with a dangerous weapon crimes. Robbery, we're up 30. We're at 335 this week. Burglary, we're up 113. We're at 113, which means we've had 14 more burglaries this week. Motor vehicle thefts, we were at 600. Well, we're at 699 presently, which means we're up 77 in 1 week. That would mean an average of 11 cars are being stolen a day. Guys, this crime is creeping up. We're only 51 days into the new year, and these numbers are continuing to go up. Hey, Sharif, would you help us to invite our audience to the March 9th gun violence colloquium?
Sure, why not? Please, please, those of you that are in the DMV area, including the DC area, please come out to hear this story. There's going to be more than just me speaking and sharing my story. There's going to be more people there that can possibly help get a breakthrough through the community. And for the young people, now's the time to not be scared no more. This is our chance to actually sit here and have our story heard. And if need be, I will be that person to help open the door. That way you feel comfortable with sharing your story, because again, there's no judgment in sharing a story because you're not wrong for feeling how you feel. But yes, please, March 9th, I am very excited, and I want to see as many people as in attendance as possible.
That is awesome, Sharif. I tell you, I thank you. And then do you have a closeout message? Is there anything you came prepared to share with us that I didn't touch on or that you'd like to leave with us?
Let's see. Your story's just begun. It's not over yet. Therefore, keep persevering. No matter what happens, no matter the obstacles, no matter how many nights you stay awake crying, no matter how many nights you go home and trying to chase your dream, keep doing it. Because when it all pays off in the end, those who were there with you from the beginning will be able to reap the benefits of your hard work and your labor.
That is awesome. Palms up to you, soldier. Mr. Carrera wants you to know that Mr. Dan will still post him up and take him to the rack. So I guess that means something, right?
He's just talking basketball junk. That's all. That's all.
Oh, you talented on the court too? My goodness. Well, palms up to you, soldier. I'm going to invite Overseer Coles before we give you guys our closeout message. That was Mr. Sharif Boyd. And if you're just tuning in, no fret. Yeah, you could replay the show and find out what we've been talking about. But if you really want an experience, you're going to show up on March the 9th at the Metropolitan Community Church of Washington, D.C., from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. And you can meet this young, beautiful soul, as well as many others who are coming together in order that we can foster positive dialogue around this crime of the gun violence and the other violence in the community. We want you all to know that this is a family-friendly event. We want everybody. We want to pack the church. You've got to register, guys, and that website is www.voachesapeake.org/colloquium. And then there's still time to get yourself, your organization, or your branding involved in this. Who does not want folks to know that you stand with our community members and the need to save lives around this gun violence? You can reach out to Chaplain Jules Christian at 336-419-7579. We're talking this evening to Mr. Sharif Boyd, who is an alumnus of the Volunteers of America Chesapeake and Carolina's Youth Build program. He moved all the way from Philadelphia down to Newport News. Why? Because a concerned family member, his sister, and palms out to your sister for recognizing the need to step in order that your life has opportunity. Mr. Boyd has such a testimony, and we've just touched on it tonight on the Palms Up Show. But again, he's going to be one of our guest speakers at the Volunteers of America, Chesapeake and Carolina's Gun Violence Colloquium over at the Metropolitan Church of Washington, D.C. There is time. There is time. Please register. www.voachesapeake.org/colloquium. Guys, it's your girl. We've been coming on every week, getting you excited, getting you motivated about the reality that we can all come together to do something around this gun violence. And the time is drawing short. You've got to register. Don't talk about it. Be about it. And you can't let this baby come on here and tell you what it is. And then you can't take time out on a Saturday to show up for your community, to show up for this generation. Palms up. It's your girl. And Overseer, I know you got a closing word for us.
The closing word is unity. Y stands for understanding. N stands for newness of life. I stands for individual and love. T stands for trusting one another. And Y stands for yielding to one's heart. Unity is the word for today.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Thank you for that, dear sis queen. Hey, Barbara Cooper, I know you got a closing word for this young man and for our audience. Come on forward, queen.
My word for that's my he's like a make it just by him talking. It's like a son. You know what I'm saying? You know, you call us big mamas. We not big mamas for no reason.
That's right.
You know? And I want you to always be open, always speak your mind. See, the truth is the light, sweetie, and can't nobody else give it but you. You know, if you speak it inconsistent, then it will come, you know. And I'm very proud of you. Very, very proud of you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey guys, it's your girl. And I know, where does the time go? Oh boy, we're already almost out of the hour, but I wanted you guys to know that you can meet Sharif Boyd. It looks like we are 18 days away. You know how we procrastinate out there. Oh, I'm going to get to it. I'm asking you to set your timer now. Let's do something different. It's a new year. It's time to have a new you. Show up for our baby. Show up for our community. Show up for yourself, guys. There are 18 days left. Please let everybody you know understand that this gun violence colloquium is about us. It's about community. It's about our younger generations, our older generations. It's about not living with fear. It's about coming forward and asking for the help that you need, just like Sharif. Come on out there and talk to Sharif face to face and find out how you can become inspired to do just what Sharif is doing. And I want you to know that when you take a step forward, God is going to be right there to help you to take the rest. Palms up. Guys, it's your girl, and I'm so choked up because we got Mr. Sharif Boyd, 23 years old. and went down to Virginia and came back to Philadelphia, has an internship. He is ready to live his life, which is the way it should be. And thank you, Jesus, he survived his gun violence incident because he was here to tell us his story. And from his mouth, he said, if he had to do it all over again, he wouldn't change a thing because it's brought him here this evening. Guys, this is the kind of positive things that our children will understand and pick up if we just do our part and show up for them. And Sharif, palms up to you and your beautiful family. And please give your sister our love for recognizing the need and the importance of saving your life. Do you have anything else to say before we bid you adieu?
Thank you for having me, and I'm way more excited now than I was yesterday about being in DC with all of you and getting to share more of my story with y'all.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear. Soldier, you be safe until we see you, and I look forward to giving you a great big hug, as Miss Cooper said. And Mr. Correa, you know, God bless you, Sharif, and be safe.
Of course. Thank you.
All right. Palms up to you, Soldier. I'll see you in about 18 days.
Palms up. See you in 18 days.
All right.
See
Bye
you
bye,
in
Sharif.
18 days.
All right, guys. Palms up.
Palms
I hope
up.
you enjoyed this evening's show just as much as we have. We're going to get it on the rotation. Please share it. Help us get this word out to our children. We have a community meeting on March the 9th, and we're calling everybody from everywhere, every community, every walk of life. Come out. Gun violence is more than just a problem with our youth. We've got folks that commit gun violence from a suicidal standpoint. Guys, gun violence can just be about the way you process your thoughts and how you communicate, as our dear overseer has told us time and time again. Gun violence is not always about the metal object. It's about how we show up. How do we communicate? Are we trying to take each other out with our words? Guys, it's your girl. We got to be accountable out there. We got to come together and help one another out there. We've got to create more success stories. So I challenge you right now. I challenge you to mark your calendars for March the 9th from 1 to 6 p.m. at the Metropolitan Community Church of Washington, D.C. It is going to be a wonderful event. We're going to have plenty of speakers. We're doing a prayer walk, a prayer vigil. We also have the opportunity to be able to write letters to our legislators. Guys, come on out here and get involved. It's the new year and it's time to do something different. Palms up. That website again to register is www.voachesapeake.org/colloquium. And you can call Chaplain Jules Christian at 336-419-7579. Don't miss it. Enjoy yourselves until we see each other next week. Love on one another and love yourselves. Palms up, and remember always that mental health matters. See you guys soon. Bye-bye. Bye, Sharif.
See ya.